Tico, no. Tico, come in here. Tico.
2 guilds.
Don't, just shut up. Let me talk. It's my turn to talk. If you do this, it will destroy the foundation of PvP in your game. I'm going to explain why here in a second. Don't do this. So a new Tico talk came out in the Throne and Liberty community.
What's up, gamers?
This is where, and I know this is going to sound crazy coming from a lot of Black Desert gamers. This is where the developers actually speak with the players. Tico is not a developer, but he's a community manager that speaks directly with the developers. Then he tells the players what they're going to do. So there's been a lot of controversy over this and the most recent patch notes, and we're going to talk about them now. I think that Throne might be, I don't know, we'll see how they explain it. But Throne, this might be kind of bad. It could be good. I don't know. We'll see.
Welcome back to Tico Talks Throne and Liberty. My name's Tico, and I'm the Globalization Design Manager at Amazon Games for Throne and Liberty. It's been a while since our last chat, and I hope all of you had a chance to get some rest over the holidays and enjoy some Throne and Liberty. I might have played a little...
I have not gotten to play TNL in the last week because I've been off. I haven't streamed at all, so this is my first take on this.
Too much, but hey, when you get a break from work, it's hard to resist. I want to start by thanking all of you for your patience during that holiday period. I know how eager you are to hear from us about many topics, and today we're going to address some of them. So grab your favorite drink, and let's dive right in. I want to waste no time and start with what's top of mind for many of you, server consolidations. Yes, they are coming, and I want to be completely transparent about what this means for our community. Our goal with server consolidations is twofold. First, it's to ensure we maintain the competitive landscape within servers. And second, we want to widen the pool of people that can play together on each server. The approach to server consolidations will be a multi-step process that includes merging auction houses between early access and launch servers, offering a free server transfer period, which includes removing the restriction of transfers.
Wait, you said the TNL server is down? Oh, wait, it didn't open. Wait, you can't even launch the game? Or I opened it and it's not even launching. It's been down all day. Oh my gosh, you guys have nothing better to do. All right, well, welcome in. Fuck it. Let's talk about it.
Between early access and launch server.
Holy shit, say what you will about BDO, at least they can play the game today. Jesus.
And then finally, the consolidation of existing servers. I want to emphasize here that any servers impacted will be consolidated into new servers, rather than merging one server into another already existing server.
I'm going to be honest with you. I think that consolidating servers is obviously a W, but if they don't fix how the alliance system works and how open world PvP is currently being encouraged, I think that the same thing is going to happen with these servers too. I think you're just going to get cooked. I think you're going to have more people quit the game.
I know you probably have many questions about what happens during consolidation, which servers will be affected, and plenty more. So to address this properly, we'll be releasing a comprehensive article later this week that will outline all the details, steps we're taking, and planned dates. So,
do I have that? That was 2 days ago. Did they release this yet? Does anyone have the link to this?
You'll know exactly what to expect. Now, I've seen a lot of discussion from players wondering what we've been working on over the last couple of months. Well, all of us at AGS and...
The dislikes? Oh, hey, it's opening, and you guys said the server wasn't up. Look at you. Look, you guys are rats. Y'all are rats. And y'all said it couldn't be loaded. And we're in. Never mind, they're dog shit. As we were. Okay. All right. Never mind. All right. That's what All right. I look like an idiot.
NCSoft have been focused on making fundamental improvements to Throne and Liberty as we get ready for Talandre's launch, our upcoming free expansion. And I want to share some of those details now. First, let's talk about combat improvements, which is something I've mentioned before.
Targeting improvements?
More specifics. We're making foundational changes to our combat mechanics with the focus on improving fluidity
Just
and
fix the
intuitive
targeting.
feel.
Just fix the targeting.
So what does this mean in practice? Here are some of our planned changes. Players will now maintain their regular movement speed while attacking. We're eliminating the functionality that forces your character to face your target when attacking, and introducing line of sight requirements to attack players and monsters.
Okay. Sure, but we have a targeting issue. Like when you press tab in Throne of Liberty, it's just going to target some random player of the 130 that are on your stream.
Movement controls will now be consistent both in and out of combat.
Okay, all right, keep going.
Did
Okay.
anyone say backpedal? We're increasing base melee attack range
Okay.
and changing from
Good.
camera-based to character-based relative movement. Additionally, we're making core changes to our targeting
Good.
system. So you can expect targeting to feel more natural and intuitive when tab targeting, and more responsive and precise when targeting with mouse clicks.
Okay, I'm not going to say it. All right, but saved, baby! Woo! We're huge! No, seriously, that's a huge W. That's massive. That's a huge part of the reason that people get turned off to Throne of Liberty's combat system is the targeting is kind of miserable. I think if this actually works, okay, if you believe them, and this works, and this actually is implemented, it would be huge for the game. It would be massive. And then I think that they would be able to attract like new players and actually retain them a lot better. Because I think their tab targeting system, assuming they can fix the targeting part of the tab target, that makes their combat some of the best in genre as far as tab target MMOs go. If you exclude the action combat MMOs from that list and you just look at it in comparison to the other tab target MMOs, I think that the PvP could be just like S tier when you compare it to things like WoW and the other tab targets, right? Finally, you lived, and he got timed out by the bot. Yo, Yarman, love you, buddy.
Changes are going through multiple rounds of extensive testing to ensure we deliver the highest quality combat experience we can. We're targeting for all of these combat changes to arrive with Talendre. The next major improvement I want to discuss is open world PvP.
Okay, here we go, baby. We're breaking alliances, and we're encouraging healthy open world PvP during contracts and other things like this that encourage people to get involved in PvP. Here we go, baby.
One of Throne of Liberty's core elements is epic scale open world PvP.
Yes,
Now,
sir.
this vision has worked well with our castle sieges, and our PvP community is having a blast there.
Correct.
We've noticed something interesting, and that's the incredibly positive reception to our guild versus guild content.
Precisely. So remove alliances and make it more guild versus guild. Perfect. They get it. They understand.
That's also coupled with concerns about how alliances and mega alliances are continuing to impact the overall PvP experience.
Thank you.
So, in an effort to lean into guild versus guild content and make their distribution of rewards more fair, we will be making major changes to how field bosses work.
Oh,
Field bosses
okay.
will transition from an open world PvP format to a guild versus guild format, similar to what you may have experienced in inter-server Riftstone battles, where two guilds will be matched 1 versus 1 in a boss fight. As Throne of Liberty continues...
No. That's a joke. That's a joke, right? Like he's actually joking. He's joking. Like this is... There's... Tico, no. Tico, come in here. Tico.
Two guilds...
Don't, just shut up. Let me talk. It's my turn to talk. If you do this, it will destroy the foundation of PvP in your game. I'm going to explain why here in a second. Don't do this. Okay, you take it from me. Okay, I watched Black Desert's community and Perlibus manage their the PvP community for a long time. Okay, and for what it's worth, Perlibus did a great job for the first few years, at least, of their open world PvP in the game. The first year or two, at least. I think we can all agree that the open world PvP of Black Desert was incredible. Being able to walk around and finding people organically and fighting over a competition for resources was what spurred players to really get involved in PvP combat for the game, right? It inspired people to continue grinding and to play the game much more actively. And I'm going to explain this very diligently because I know that Tico will very likely see this, and so will the CM team, and it'll probably reach the developers. Sincerely. Currently, your game doesn't have enough organic ways to encourage people to get involved in PvP, which will keep them grinding for long periods of time on your game. Okay, so Throwing Liberty's biggest current problem is that you don't have players that really have a reason to continue logging in and continue grinding for their gear, because you don't really have a life skilling base. You have fishing and you're expanding on that, and that's good, but that's not nearly enough to keep players playing from a life skilling perspective. So you look over at PvE. Well, the PvEers, I mean, they can do dungeons and stuff, but they're really not like super encouraged to do it long term because you've made dungeons into a super grind, which I'm going to get into. You know what? I'm going to cover this. Is about to be a rant of a lifetime. I'm just going to write this down. I'm just going to remember this. We're just going to tab this, guys. We're going to tee that up. Okay. Dungeons currently feel like a super omega grind. Every day you have to do like 5 of each kind of dungeon, and then you have to grind out your runes and stuff, and it's frustrating, right? And I will tell you this, that as someone that's played Korean grind MMOs for the majority of his gaming career now, I'm telling you right now, there are ways to make these grinds super, super fun and much more enjoyable. Is it a grind? Of course it is, but people aren't upset that it's a grind. If they enjoyed the grind experience and they knew that the end game that they were grinding for was some badass shit, whether it be PvE or PvP. In World of Warcraft, it's PvE, right? You're grinding for those mythic dungeons. You can't wait to do that, right? But in Throne and Liberty, it's most definitely a PvP endgame, right? And so we're going to relate it to Black Desert for this reason temporarily, okay? Because it's a good comparison, because BDO had a PvP endgame for a really long time, okay? Players grind really hard so that someday when they get involved in PvP, they can succeed at it and they will be good at it, right? And they have a potential to be good at PvP and be involved in something greater than themselves. In an MMO, especially in a PvP MMO, the thing that players want to RP as the most is a soldier in an epic battle, okay? And I do believe that the Throne and Liberty developers understand this at a core level. That's why Siege is so much fun to do. So in PvP, players want to feel like soldiers in an army, right? Whether they're like a lieutenant, and they're flanking, right? Or they're a frontliner, they're a tank, right? They're a beefy frontliner, or they're a healer, or they're a DPS, they're like a backline DPS, or they're a flanker. They want that, like, some people want to be the shot caller, very few people want to be the shot caller. Some people want to fill each one of those roles, right? Okay, and they spend all of their time in game. I'm telling you this as a player and someone that's done this. You fantasize about it while you're grinding. You're like, oh dude, when I get this next upgrade, oh shit bro, then I'm gonna be able to heal like so much better than I could before. Dude, my heals are gonna hit, dude. I'm gonna be able to save people. And you fantasize about making these clips where like you save people just barely because you did that extra grind and you got everyone, right? Like everybody saved, and like this big kill feed went off, and you were like, I was a part of that play. I was a meaningful part of that engagement, right? Like that is what players are grinding for. That's what you need to bring people to the table to do, okay? You need to envelop that fantasy, right? And in order to give people a taste of that, you need competition for resources in the daily grind that give them little niblets of what's waiting for them at the end. In this case, that's Siege. Okay, so right now your daily grind is contracts and dungeons. Neither of these are open world PvP. Both of them, I think that if you ask people, suck balls. Okay, respectfully, your contracts, no one likes doing contracts. And the people that say they like doing contracts also hate it. They're just trying to impress their girlfriend. Okay, it's literally just that simple. Dungeons are actually have great mechanics and they love working with their friends, but they don't want to do it all fucking day, man. They don't want to feel like they're obligated to do it every single day, all day long. And if they miss a day, they got to do it twice as long the next day. You've ruined what would be normally great content by making it basically required to do every single fucking day. Okay. Now, how to fix contracts. We'll start with contracts first, and then we'll go to dungeons. Okay, contracts. Very easy fix. Okay, how do you make contracts fun and engaging? All right, there's 2 or 3 different ways that you could do this, but I've already come up with one, so I'm just going to use it as the same example that I did last time. Okay, as you're doing your contracts, a field boss can spawn. It's not as big as a normal world boss, but it's like a smaller version. Okay, and it's open world PvP. PvP is flagged on when you step into the circle. That boss gives you really good rewards, whether it be runes, tier 2 armor, purple armor, whatever. Okay, if you kill it, it's based on contribution to the boss, but PvP is turned on. Okay, and this works great as an introductory like PvP like mechanic. Again, it doesn't have to be this. It's just an example. But the reason that something like that would work really well is because it helps a new player who is doing their contracts for the first time and they're grinding. They're not really sure what they're grinding for, and they see this boss spawn and they're like, okay, I'm going to do this, right? And then they get in there, and then one other person comes up, and they just have to fight one other person for it, right? And they're struggling, but they can't quite get there, but like, you know, they get some loot for it, right? They get some loot for it, and that helps introduce them to PvP in a very, very like healthy way, because you don't have like, it's not like organized guild PvP. People can't plan their schedules around doing these contracts and stuff like this. So you're not going to have 70 people show up teabagging that new player. Like the boss spawns and the players like just getting teabagged by 70 people like, ugh. You know what I mean? Like that new player gets to actually fight in a reasonably contested area where they actually have a chance at success if they just continue grinding, right? They keep on their grinds every day. They can compete better at these contracts every day, and also introduces them to open world PvP in a relatively healthy way that doesn't feel that they necessarily have to do it, but it encourages them to do so, okay, without necessarily being zerged. Okay, now that's just one way to improve contracts. But again, contracts, you need to improve some form of open world PvP at contracts that is healthy, doesn't promote zerging, and really encourages it. It kind of dips players' toes in to open world PvP and shows them what they can get done, right? Because it also encourages that new player who's in a brand new guild. They're like, hey guys, I just had this boss spawn on my contract. Guys, come help back me up. And so they'll party up with their friends while they're doing contracts. And then life skilling guilds, PvE guilds that are like less competitive, maybe not siege guilds, but like less competitive, have a chance because they can get together with their friends and they're like, oh my God, we beat that guy. And they can see success because they have slightly more people than their opponent, or because, you know, party versus party, they're just playing better. Right? It encourages small scale PvP in a healthy way. Some of my most valuable memories from open world PvP in any game that I've done, but particular BDO, because that's where my most of my experience is those open world experiences on a competition for resources where my guild came to help me. It was a spur of the moment thing. There wasn't a crazy amount on the line except for like, you know, maybe a small amount of rewards like completing a guild mission. But mainly it was just like bragging rights and like having people come together and like showing why coming together as players was just really cool. Really cool. Dungeons, really simple. You don't necessarily want to involve PvP in dungeons. That's not a good idea. You do need to have some aspects of the game that can't really be interrupted by PvP so that people feel that they can get away from it in some aspects of the game. That being said, dungeons are way too much of a grind. You can't require someone to do fucking like 8 dungeons a day and expect them to keep playing your game. You've required way too much of it. Way too much of it. Watch the video while I'm not done making my point here. Now to move over to the 2 things that they are doing right about the game, but could use adjustments. Field bosses. Okay. Why are field bosses bad? Okay. Why are people complaining about field bosses? People are complaining about field bosses because mega alliances and alliances in general are completely ruining it for them. Okay. It's ruining the experience, and it doesn't encourage people to show up for field bosses when you're getting completely gigazerged every single time you show up. You're just going to eventually stop showing up. That's the general human response for like open or the world bosses. You know, I'll just put combat world bosses. Okay. All right. So combat world bosses. All right. How do you fix this? You need to break alliances. It's just that simple. The reason you need to break alliances is you need to reward smaller organizations for coming together and operating at high levels of play rather than big organizations that operate at low levels of play. What do I mean by that? Okay, well, guys, if 240 people show up to a conflict boss, they don't need to be really organized. They don't even need a shot caller. They just show up, they just monkey around, whatever, and no one has any chance of winning, right? Because it's a complete Zerg. Okay, it's a complete Zerg. No one else has a chance of winning. They're just going to completely obliterate the boss, and there's nothing that anyone's going to be able to do about that. If you break that into 60 people coming to a world boss on one team, okay, well, suddenly the 30-man guilds, okay, that are on the server, maybe there's a 10-man guild here, and then there's a 25-man here, whatever. Oh, now we have a chance. Now you're going to eat a little bit. Right? It encourages stronger play with the 60. All right. So say Supple wants to show up to a world boss and they can only bring 60 people, right? Which is a lot for a combat world boss, right? Well, they're going to have to work a lot more together and succinctly as a unit and like be better players if they want to fend off all of these different players. It also encourages all of these other players to actually show up for the boss, when the reality of the situation is currently Supple is going to show up with 240 players to a boss. Do you think that these 25 players, these 30 players, do you think that these are going to have a chance? No. And eventually they're going to stop showing up to the boss. It's just that simple. So you need to break down the amount of people that are actually able to work together at world bosses. The best way to do this is to break alliances. Just flat out, plain and simple. 70-man guilds. It's just that. 70-man guilds, that's it. You don't get to ally with anybody. Siege needs adjustments, but there's absolutely ways to adjust Siege with just basic numbers on the golems and things that they could absolutely do to make sure that the castle is defensible from, you know, for 70 people. All right. It's just that simple. You can't have alliances work on Siege, but not work other places in the game. No, because that will encourage mega alliances. I want to nip this in the bud right now because a lot of people will immediately say, oh, well, you could just do alliances for Siege and then not have alliances anywhere else in the game. That will not work because they will be friends. And I'm telling you, as someone that's been in alliances, I've led countless PvP guilds across many games. Okay. What's going to happen is they're going to ally for the Siege. And then they're basically going to have like okay, don't hit each other in the open world. Like they're going to get upset with each other if they dropped on each other's rifts. You think they're going to fight each other on boonstones? You think at conflict bosses, they're going to fight each other? No. You need them to fight each other all the time. It needs to be broken completely. Siege needs to be basically not completely reworked. I think Siege is great. I think you just adjust the numbers on the golems, maybe like adjust how like people can approach the castle and stuff in some areas, and you would be just fine. 70 people would be made to work in some areas. Okay, or maybe you give them defensive tools like ballistas and shit that they can shoot at defenders or at attackers, right? Give them like catapults and shit. I don't know. Like there's ways that you could make this work. All right. So you need to break this down so that smaller amounts of people have to work better together and are rewarded more strongly for it. I will guarantee you that Take Care, Supple, Privateers, and every one of those guilds would probably have to work together way better and would find much more meaningful PvP if they only had to deal. Also, well, I'll get to the leaderships in a second, but like they would have much more meaningful PvP if they were only walking into each boss with 50 or 60 people. Right? Like then, okay, we have to work together to try to hit the boss and stuff, and people have to work together, and it encourages a higher level of play while also encouraging your smaller guilds on the server to actually get involved and go to the conflict boss in a meaningful way. The incorrect way to handle field bosses, because I understand that the developers don't want to break alliances because they feel like it'll break up communities. Do not be afraid of this. The leadership cores already want the alliance system gone. I will guarantee you, if you ask any alliance member right now, any leadership member behind closed doors, you say, would you rather just manage your 70 people, or would you rather manage the 280 apes, three, most of which aren't even involved in your organization? They're going to say, I'd rather just fix the 70 people. I'd rather just manage the 70 people because it's way more doable. Okay. I'm just going to be honest. It's so much. Your leadership cores are burning out left, right, and center. Okay. The leadership cores are the foundation of your game. These are the people that lead your guilds. These are the people that are willing to work. And keep in mind, I say work. Everybody else gets to play the game. Leadership cores, they don't get to play the game. They're not playing the game. They're working, okay, to make sure that everyone else has a good time, right? And when the leadership core quits the game, that's when the guild dies. Okay, so those are the people that you need to make sure keep playing the game. You're burning them to a crisp because they have to manage 240 people. I managed 150 in BDO. Okay, one of the hardest things I've ever done. I managed 150 for like 8 months. It was miserable. I hated my entire life. Then I came to Throne and Liberty and I had to manage 280 morons. What are we talking about? I almost lost my mind. I immediately had to disengage. I burned out and I'm like the leadership guy, man. I'm good at leading guilds. Like I'm good. I like doing it, right? Like, and I was getting paid. I'm a content creator, right? So like for everyone else, it has to be even worse. Okay. Can't you just delegate though? Okay, that's spoken as someone that's never done guild leadership in their lives. There's certain things, yes, you can delegate, and good leaders do, but there's certain things that as guild master, you cannot delegate to other people. Do you know what happens if you delegate politics? 280 people blame you for having a terrible time at Siege because you didn't have the time to do politics and you delegated it to a monkey who waited until the last minute to get any allies for Siege, and then you all had a terrible time, and then everyone blames you for it. And everybody has a terrible time, and you feel like it's your fault. As leadership, when the guild is not having a good time, you take that personally. That's what you guys need to understand about these leadership cores, the good ones. They take it personally when their guild does not have a good time and people are not having fun. That they lose sleep at night over it. Like the good ones, they lose sleep at night because they're trying to keep their friends together. They're trying to keep their community, their organization together, right? And in order to do that, everybody has to be having a good time. It's just that simple. So managing 240 people, no one wants to do it anyway. Everyone's already got their separate guilds. You should just split the alliances. It will be fine, okay? Just split the alliances. Everyone will breathe a sigh of relief, and everyone will breathe a little bit easier. New guilds will pop up. It will go much better. Zerging will be much less of an issue, and you will inadvertently cause all of these other guilds that can't bring 60 people all the time to actually come to conflict bosses because they have a chance of contesting the conflict boss. It's just that simple. Right? Instead, what you've done now is you've said field bosses will transition from open world PvP format into guild versus guild format, similar to what you experienced in intra-server Riftstone battles. This is probably the worst idea that I could have possibly imagined. Okay, we're moving toward instanced PvP on instance PvP that only like 3 or 4 guilds can actually take part in. So you're limiting the amount of people that can actually get involved. So the next question is going to be asked in the community, well, let's say 3 guilds get to participate, right? Well, which 3 guilds get to participate? Well, the strongest 3, whichever 3 have the most that enter the portal, right? It'll be some dumb system like that. That means you're only encouraging 1, 2, 3 guilds to show up for a world boss instead of 10 to 15 to 20. This is counterintuitive to what you actually want. Okay? And God forbid you end up with like a situation where the 10-man guild has to face off against the 60-man guild, which is facing off against a 20-man guild. Then no one is having fun and they're locked into an arena with these people for the next 20 minutes. That's gonna suck, man. That's gonna blow. I'm trying to be as respectful as I can be. Black Desert Online did something very similar to its PvP system, and it completely obliterated open world PvP. Okay, you can't do this. The parts of the game that people really love Throne and Liberty for are your open world combat like bosses, because they're really unique in how they're managed, right? And how they bring people together, and your Siege. Okay? You've got to make sure that these 2 things are the things you're doing right. If you change this to do this in this way, you will inadvertently basically cause even less guilds to show up for conflict bosses, because again, you will have a situation where even if you break alliances at this point, even if you break alliances, small guilds will not be encouraged to come to the open world PvP format because they feel like they're not strong enough to fight the other guilds that they're locked into the portal with. Brutal truth. Okay? And before you get any ideas of this, oh, well, we'll just have multiple different portals where guilds will just fight, and like 3 guilds will fight in Portal 2, and 3 guilds will fight in Portal 1, and 3 guilds will fight in Portal 3 based on how many people jumped in, and that way they'll be close. No, again, you want organic competition for resources, okay? That does not encourage guilds to get stronger. That encourages guilds to stay the same size. I know that seems like a good idea on paper, but really what you've done is you've taken a 10-man guild, Okay, and they show up to a world boss at that point, and they have to fight 2 other 10-man guilds, and they're like, oh, well, we really don't have a reason to get better or recruit new players because we can just keep showing up and getting maximum rewards by only bringing 10 people and fighting the lower end guilds. This is not what you want to do. Okay, this is not a good idea. And again, I like to consider myself a large-scale PvP expert overall at this point. All right, this is not going to work. If you try to make this a guild versus guild thing, you'll kill it. And it's one of the foundational aspects of your game. Even if you fix targeting, a tremendous amount of people will quit over this, at least in your PvP community. Will quit over it. All right. I think that I've covered everything. I don't know. Do you guys agree with me? Do you guys think that what Tico is saying, let them know. They're going to watch this video. Do you guys think that what Tico is saying is correct? Or do you think that I'm full of shit? Tanky, thanks for the prime somebody. You're right. You're right. Okay. We need to see more? Nah, you're bald. No. Okay. You're right. Yeah, okay. Yeah, you're right. Okay, there it is. Like, I'm telling you right now, the reason this video is ratioed is this statement right here. Guaranteed. Guaranteed this video is ratioed because of this statement right here. Now, I'm going to let him cook a little longer, but on this first statement right here, this is bad. This is really, really, really bad. It limits the amount of guilds that can actually compete against each other. Even if you break the alliance system, this is still a bad change for the game. You need to break the alliance system and then leave combat bosses. That's part of the reason people love conflict bosses, right? Or they should. I would argue that the best change to conflict bosses would be not only to break alliances, but you also half the number of combat bosses, but then double the rewards at each combat boss. That way, players don't feel that they have to be logged in all day, every day to be in a competitive PvP guild. They only have to be logged in like once or twice, at least for the bosses, right? They don't need to be logged in for 8-hour periods of time. So you double the rewards, and then you half the bosses. And what this does is, basically, again, if you cut alliances from the game, normally you would have 4 bosses that super alliances are going to go to. No one else is going to want to go. You get no PvP at 4 bosses. Even if you break alliances, you will not have a crazy amount of PvP at 4 bosses. If you have the number of bosses and then you double the rewards at those bosses, okay, and you break the alliance system, what you've done is you've incentivized those smaller guilds to show up for the boss with the promise that they won't be zerged nearly as badly as they were before, right? And they have 2x rewards, right? And they can actually, where a smaller guild is going to struggle to be able to bring people to 4 world bosses in a day, a smaller guild would be able to bring people to 2 world bosses in a day. It's a much more approachable thing when you're trying to build a guild and make requirements for that guild to be like, hey, you guys have to be at one of the 2 world bosses for the day. Okay, whether it's the early one or the late one or whatever. Then it is like, okay, you have to be at 2 or 3 of these a day. You also need to be at Rift and Boonstones. Oh yeah, you also have to be at Siege and all this stuff to just even hit the ground being competitive. Okay, it's not doable. It's not doable. Okay. So anyway, those are my ideas for it. You can let me know what you guys think in chat or in the comments if you're watching this on YouTube.
Will be matched 1 versus 1 in a boss fight. As Throne of Liberty continues to...
Whoa. So it's going to be a 1v1? Wait, what? Inter-server rip battles where 2 guilds will be matched 1v1 in a boss fight. Yeah, that's horrible. Do you know what kills PvP? 1v1s. I'm just going to be honest with you. Okay? As someone that's led PvP guilds, you want to do 1v1s when you have a beef with another guild. You do the 1v1, you settle the beef, one side wins, one side loses, and then you go your separate ways and you avoid them like the plague until you feel like you're strong enough to fight them again. If you have to fight them 4 times a day in an isolated 1v1, you're gonna kill the losing guild. Every time. Because you're gonna force them into a losing position 4 times a day. Literally 4 times a day, where they have no hope of winning. None whatsoever. Okay? Like, you can't do this. This is a huge mistake. 1v1s destroy your game. Black Desert did the exact same thing. It kills morale. Exactly. They tried to do this stupid risk system where you could only drop next to one another on nodes. Like, you could only attack an adjacent node, just like Risk. It's literally Risk, guys. You could only attack adjacent nodes, and it was basically 1v1s all the time. killed the PvP scene. They had to roll it back entirely. It was obliterated the PvP scene. Eventually, the PvP scene figured out the only reason we survived is because we figured out how to basically get around it. And we retconned it so that it wouldn't be 1v1s, but they wanted 1v1s all the time. Okay? 1v1s kill guilds. 1v1s every once in a while are healthy for the scene. Having PvP beef between guilds is healthy, but you can't force them to 1v1 all the time. It obliterates the morale of one guild while the other guild is shitting on them. Eventually all the members quit or leave, and that's the end of it. Then there's no more PvP for anybody. Okay, you can't do that.
This is guild
if you keep losing, why play? There it is.
Similar to what you may have experienced in inter-server Riftstone battles, where two guilds will be matched 1 versus 1 in a boss fight. As Throne and Liberty continues to evolve, we want to adapt content to lean into what players are organically enjoying, and I'm personally very excited and optimistic about this new direction.
So you killed conflict bosses?
This is a substantial change, and we're still fine-tuning the matchmaking and reward system. So look forward to February when we'll share more detailed information.
Do not do this. Do not do that. You will destroy your game. That will be the beginning of the end.
Now I'd like to talk about a few topics that I've seen a lot of speculation about in the community and address them directly, starting with Tier 2 gear. Players will be able to begin acquiring Tier 2 gear at the time Talendre is released.
Awesome.
And when that Tier 2 gear does arrive, players will be able to upgrade them all the way to plus 12 from the...
Awesome. KR is already dead? Well, KR sucks at Korean MMOs anyway. Are you kidding me? Name an MMO that Korea is actually good at. These people are dog shit at playing these games. They don't even know what's good for them.
The onset.
Who even cares about them? We care about us, okay? We understand how to PvP anyway.
The ability to increase gear to plus 12 will also apply to Tier 1 Arc Boss weapons, and yes, these weapons will also be buffed to match the power of Tier 2 weapons. The other...
BDO? Let me put it this way. Korea has had Black Desert Online for over 2 years longer than the entire rest of the world. And I'm fairly certain that every single region in the game would completely destroy Korea in a 1v1 with between their top guilds. It wouldn't even be close. We're 2 years behind them. We would obliterate them. It wouldn't even be remotely close.
Speculative topic I wanted to cover was the new weapon mastery system that many of you have probably heard about from the Korean service. I've seen plenty of guesses for when it will arrive to our service, so I will tell you now that it will also arrive with Talendre.
That tells us nothing. Thanks, though. That's great. What the hell is that kind of a tease? It will release when the new expansion gets here. When's the new expansion getting here? It will release with the new expansion. Okay.
With all this talk about Talendre, I know you must be wondering, when is Talendre coming? Or maybe even, what is Talendre? Well, make sure to tune into Godspeed's next episode of Ion's...
God damn it! Bro, I'm being cooked! He edged me again! I got baited twice! He's a masturbator! God!
Elysium on January 28th for the big reveal. And between you and me, I wonder if she's going to drop any other information about upcoming content.
No, no, no! You will not edge me like that! Shut up, the stupid little smirk on his... Look at this. Damn it! At least he's hot. That honestly hurts. It would help me hate him if he was ugly. You naturally want to treat more attractive people better. Even if they're the same sex. It's human nature. I hate it.
Okay, we just covered a lot, but that's not everything we're working on. Let me highlight some other key improvements in development. First, we're implementing changes to reduce situations that can lead to toxicity, especially in co-op dungeons.
Oh my god, dude. This is not a priority. I'll keep it a buck, bro. I wanted to go into co-op dungeons. My entire plan was to have chat fix my build for like $400. And I drop like $400. Chat fix my build. You guys tell me what to build. I do it. You know, completely destroy my build. And then I go into these dungeons. I don't look up any of the mechanics, and I just run it down. I just be your worst nightmare. I'm the guy that you wake up in a cold sweat at night thinking about. Okay? Like I want, like, bro, the toxicity is what, like, bro, that's what's going to be good about it. That's what's going to be fun about it. Your rail's going to be fine. You already have shock commanders. Don't tell everyone that. My entire premise as a content creator is that people think I'm not playing the game.
We're also tackling key quality of life improvements, like streamlining inventory management for both regular items and runes. And along those same lines, we're analyzing...
From crybabies from Reddit. Dude, if I had a dime for every Reddit, like, moron suggested some dipshit stuff on the Black Desert subreddit, I would be a rich man. Okay? And honestly, on the Throne and Liberty subreddit, it's the same thing. They're so toxic. They removed me from the group in the dungeon because I didn't get it, and it was only the 30-second attempt. Yeah, you idiot. Go look up a guide. Holy shit. Like, damn it. Oh my god, dude, these people.
Analyzing the game's materials and working to reduce the current material overload that many of you have experienced. And finally, something I know many of you will appreciate.
What up, Bobby?
We're expanding the ways you can approach gear progression.
Bro, I don't know if we can expand it anymore, bro. My head's already exploding. There's already too many different paths. Bro, in BDO, you need to understand, in BDO, there's one path. Okay, you build your dead gods, you build your Charizard, you're good to go. In World of Warcraft, with one path, you take the build the best fifth slot item, and you're done. Okay, easy peasy. You're done. Guild Wars 2, piece of cake. Throne of Liberty, you got like a million ass different ways where you can go to like optimize every little thing about every little thing. Like, oh my god, dude. It's too overwhelming. I'm too stupid.
While PvE content,
not to say that you should simplify it. Do not simplify it. It's good. It's a selling aspect for the game. Players like that.
Is the current primary path for progression. We want to give you more flexibility to progress through the content you enjoy most, whether that's PvE, PvP, or a mix of both. We're still iterating on the finer points of all of these efforts and their release timing, but I promise to share more information as we make progress.
Okay, so what they alluded to there, guys, was giving more rewards and things like PvP. That's what he's basically alluding to there. That's good. It's a W. So you can just so you can grind PvP and actually progress your gear instead of having to grind contracts or grind dungeons and stuff. That would be good. Step in the positive direction.
Now, I want to talk about some promises we've made to you in previous discussions. Back in October, I mentioned we were working on new UI elements to contextual information about guild contributions during conflict mode bosses. That change is arriving in just a few days on January 23rd. For our console players, in November I promised mouse and keyboard support, and we are now targeting to deliver this feature on February 6th.
Okay, cool.
In my recent...
Finally, we don't have to kick console players for existing in the guild. Honestly, you're still probably going to kick them because they don't have enough FPS to keep up, let's be honest.
Holiday letter in December, I acknowledged your feedback about daily activities feeling overwhelming. Let me share some initial steps we're taking to address this. Starting January 23rd, you'll be able to open normal end-of-dungeon chests even when doing dimensional trials. Then, on February 13th, we're adding the ability to open multiple chests within a single dungeon run.
Brilliant. Brilliant. I loved it. Good. Just like I said before, I said dungeons are way too much of a grind. Boom. That's the W part of the video. Good change. Yeah, so I don't have to do 20 runs a day now. Exactly. Exactly. Much better. In fact, in my opinion, it should be like Destiny 2 at the end. Hold on. You should be able to walk into the end of the dungeon and have it look like this. Here we go. I got it. Oh boy. Guys, you finish the dungeon and you walk into the final dungeon room and then you could choose 3. Right? You can choose 3. And there's like chests everywhere. You know that what you're looking for is in here somewhere. You just don't know which one's open. This is fun. This is fun. Last Wish is my favorite raid in Destiny.
This change will be initially applied to 1-star dungeons. We're still working on improvements for contracts and Abyss dungeons. For Abyss dungeons specifically, our focus is less on reducing time spent inside of the dungeons and more on improving the fun factor of the dungeons themselves.
Perfect. That's exactly right. Exactly what I said before. No one gives a shit about how grindy it feels like that it takes to grind runes. I'm going to be honest with you. People that are complaining about the rune grind just need to be punched in the face. Okay. The problem with the rune grind is not in game, by the way. The problem with the rune grind is not that it takes a long time. It's the fact that it's not enjoyable. Okay. If you make the grind enjoyable, people will do thousands of hours in your game. They won't even blink. They won't even think about it. It won't even be a second thought. It's when the grind isn't enjoyable that it becomes a reality that you're like, damn, I'm kind of hating what I'm doing right now, right? Talking about Abyss dungeons. I'm aware. But like in general, that's the basic premise that he's saying, is we're trying to make the dungeon content, like the Abyssal dungeon content, more fun instead of like, you know, necessarily decreasing your time in the dungeon, right? They're just trying to make your time in the dungeon more fun without decreasing your time in the dungeon. That's a good take.
On January 23rd, we're adding nighttime chests to Shadowed Crypt for our PvP players to compete over.
Sweet.
I'm expecting we'll be able to share more details next month about more of the changes coming to Abyss dungeons that impact all of our players. Let's jump over to Castle Siege timing. Based on your responses to our recent survey, it's clear that players want sieges to occur later in the day.
True, man. Although, wait, no, don't do that. Wait, no, my stream's already going until like 2 in the morning. Guys, what's the best part of Castle Siege? It's after the siege ends, when Blue goes live, and we start doing the VOD reviews, okay? You know it, I know it, we all know it, okay? It's the siege reviews. Even if you lose siege, best part of your day is going to be watching me rip someone a new asshole, okay? Even if they beat you at siege, I will take the winning perspective of your siege, and I will make you feel better. Okay? Even though you lost to these people, I will make you feel better, right? People love that. If you make the sieges later in the day, it's going to fuck me. All right, now I got to be live until 4 in the morning. I'm going to do it. I don't even care. I won't even think about it. 100% a W change to make it later in the day. You guys need to make sure you're uploading your siege VODs faster, though. You need to make sure you upload your siege VODs faster so that I can jump on it way faster. Before it would take you guys like 2 hours. Get better internet. What are you wearing? Are you living in like Nigeria? Get better internet.
With our upcoming maintenance this week,
uploading from the Congo.
A new Castle Siege start time of 8 p.m. will be reflected in the in-game schedule.
Or just stream it.
This change will impact...
No, make it a YouTube video. They're better quality.
...the Castle Siege on January 26th and all subsequent sieges. And speaking of surveys, I want to remind you how seriously we take your survey feedback.
I refuse to upload them. That's because you don't know how, because you don't understand what Google is. In fact, you wouldn't even have been able to get to the link to my stream if I hadn't given it to you directly, you Neanderthal. It takes 4 hours to upload my VODs. Dude, guys, record in less, like, you don't need to record it in 8K.
As you can probably tell from today's topics, many of these changes came directly from your feedback in our survey. So please keep giving us that feedback.
Yeah, our feedback here is don't do any of the stuff in the first part of the video here. The targeting stuff is good. The conflict boss stuff is going to destroy the fabric of what people find fun about your game.
And thank you all again for your continued feedback across all of our platforms. If you haven't already, please help us out by leaving a review on your game's platform. We're going to continue to...
Sincerely, you do not want to encourage people to leave a Steam review after you just told them that you're going to take away their conflict bosses. You're asking for a disaster. Okay? Like, think it through.
To do our best to listen to your feedback, action that feedback, and communicate with you openly and honestly.
This game is good right now. I might buy it. It's free, man.
All right, and now that brings us to our community question. Throne and Liberty currently has cooking and fishing, but if you could add any other form of lifestyle content to Throne and Liberty, what would it be?
I would like to add ERP lifestyle, and I think a big contributing factor of that would be a better boob slider, okay? Again, we need a better boob slider. I don't give a shit what the life skill is. The boob slider needs to be bigger. Please, give us a boob slider. That's all. No one cares about life skilling. Moving on.
I'm really curious to hear your thoughts on this one. Please.
Okay, for real though, you need actual gathering. Okay, you need actual hips too. True. Throw that in there too. DEI was moved out. Okay, you don't have to pretend to be equity and inclusion, that's all gone now. It's a safe place now. You can give us a boob slider without feeling bad about it as a company, Amazon. It's gonna be okay. Just give us the boob slider. It's what we want anyway. You will make more money. I don't even give a if you're like, yo, the boobs are $10. Done. Wouldn't even think about it. You know why? Because it's more inclusive to women. That's just the truth. I would spend that $10 because I know it would encourage women everywhere because they would feel more represented. It's the truth.
Like and subscribe.
Real talk though. Life skilling wise, I think that you guys need probably hunting would be kind of cool. Hunting would be cool, or gathering would be cool. And don't tell me what they currently have in the game is gathering. Okay, that shit is garbage. Like, oh, I have to gather on 3 moon things for or whatever for my contract. Stop. You're embarrassing yourself. Okay, no. Give us actual things that we can go out and hunt with a big gun, like a matchlock or whatever, or a bow and arrow, whatever. Like a hunting bow. Yeah, and people would find that fun. You could put hunting monsters all over the world. You could absolutely make it like a game. People could like get knowledge, right, of the different things, and then get special titles and whatnot for the different hunting things. And then there could be special mass that you collect that would transfer over to cooking as well. Like people would love that. So BDO, no, that's not like BDO. Like BDO does have. I mean, of course it's going to sound a little bit like BDO. BDO is hunting, but like. A little bit, but no, BDO, you stand in one spot, you just shoot a bunch of rhinos or you shoot a bunch of lions or whatever. No, I'm talking about like prize hunting, like where you have to like go out and like find like a rare mob spawn, and you have to run out and go kill it. Kind of like the blue whale stuff or like the calc. You know what I mean? Like that would be cool. You could even do party hunting where like these big like scary creatures fly around and you have to shoot them down with a bow, and then like you have to run after them in a party to like bring people together for life skilling content, and like you can all shoot it down together and then everybody can loot it at the end together, and then you get like exclusive content for like cooking and stuff, or like mats for cooking and stuff. That'd be fun, right? So Monster Hunter, tell me right now that if Throne and Liberty had anything that resembled Monster Hunter's monsters, that it wouldn't be immediately a better game. You actually going to tell me that you don't want that? Okay? Stop. You're embarrassing yourself. I'm not asking for Monster Hunter. I'm asking for Monster Hunter at home. All right? It's kind of like when I want to play Sea of Thieves at home, I just get on my Carrack and BDO. All right? It's just great value Sea of Thieves. All right? Like it is what it is. But like I need to be able to do that in Throne and Liberty, so I don't have to log off Throne and Liberty to go play Monster Hunter. I can just stay in and play it, right? And it encourages you. Again, it's a reason for players to come together in the game. Forces players to come together in the game and work as a party. But you could also technically do it solo too. It's fun. It's a good idea. I think hunting is probably the best option that's like realistic for them to implement. I think that gathering would be really hard for them. They could do something like herbalism from World of Warcraft. That would probably work, where like you put herbs in various places and you kind of hide them throughout the world and they can spawn in different spots. That might work, but like, I don't know if that would be as much of a hit as I think hunting would be kind of cool. Right? It's not necessarily going to be for everybody, but that's life skilling content, you know?
If you want to see more of these videos, I read each and every comment, so please let us know what you think down below in the comments. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in Silesia.
Do I upvote or downvote this video? I would say that the majority of the video was good, but there was one very critically bad moment in the video. And I think that if you upvote a video like this, you end up with a bad game. I'm going to downvote it. For all he said, everything is coming in Talendre. The meta shift will be massive there. It'll all be thrown in one patch. Well, that's fine. People love that. Do you know what people love about balance? Is when they really mix things up. That's when gets people to play the game. That's what goes on in the preseason. Riot does this all the time. I relate it to a snow globe. Balance is a snow globe. At the start of the season, you shake the snow globe up. And the flurries go everywhere. Everything's ape shit, and everybody logs in to like figure out what the next new OP thing is. right? Or to experiment with builds and try all this crazy stuff to figure out. And then as time goes on, you end up with hot fixes, you end up with patches, nerfs, buffs, right? To even things out, the dust starts to settle. And then by the end of the season, you end up with a big tournament. This is what Riot does anyway. You end up with a big tournament and you get a very clear picture of what the metagame is. Okay. And you end up with a big tournament, and the big tournament shows who has mastered that metagame most succinctly in that time allotted, right? Then you shake up the globe and you do it again. That's fun. People love that. Okay. They read Reddit. It's fine. Is there a Reddit thread on this? I honor Tico's bravery to stand for 10 minutes in front of a hungry horde and tell them he brought them nothing to eat. All right. Okay, so here's what I'm going to do. All right, he is brave. I'll give him credit. Okay. I encourage you guys to go interact with this video because this is where they listen to stuff. Here's the video here. You don't necessarily have to download it. If you liked it, upvote it for sure. I'm not trying to encourage you to go do that or anything, but definitely leave a comment to like let them know what feedback they have about the game or you have about the game in general. I feel like I voiced my concerns in the video overall. I felt like I was pretty nuanced about it. Let's see. This is apparently a Reddit post about this. Somebody wanted me to review this. And again, I got pinged about this about 6 times while I was off for the past week. Or I guess for the last like day or two in the War Games Discord by like a lot of guilds. We're like, dude, you have to help us. You need to help us get through to them. And I was like, oh, okay, all right. I'm gonna do my part. It'll be fine. I did not realize this was as bad as it, like the suggestion was as bad as it was though. Instance field bosses. Instance GVG bosses are going to straight up remove one of the biggest pieces of open world PvP in the game. It's bad enough we have to PvP in a small circle. They really need to make the entire zone active when the respective boss spawns in it. Example, Azrael spawns in the Shattered Temple is enabled for PvP, just like guild events in Dominion. I'll be honest with you. Yeah, so dude, I'm blanking. Is it Azrael? Which one is the one that like is inside the temple and there's this giant, just tiny little circle? Azrael has the bridge. No. The one with the circle. And then like there's like bleachers on every side of the circle. Cornelius. That boss. Yes, it's Cornelius. That boss and that zone. The whole thing. Juno's bad too. Because the whole thing is like you're sitting on a dais, right? But Juno, it's really about who camped out longest to get into the boss, right? But like Cornelius is ass, dude. It does not encourage people to fight at the boss, mainly because you can sit. There's like, for those of you that don't know, there's like this circle at the bottom, right? And then there's bleachers all around it's like an amphitheater almost. Looks like this. Okay, it kind of looks like this. And then there's like a solid wall, or there's like a door right here. That's usually closed, right? And so the only PvP is in this circle. It's really annoying because it's really far down. So annoying. Chime. Okay, shut up. The only PvP is in that circle. It's really annoying. Very, very frustrating. Instead of removing a huge part of open world PvP, they should just add a new conflict slot that is only a GVG. I don't get why they traded. No. Stop. Forgive them, Lord. They know not what they ask. Guys, no. Guys, people are already struggling to log in for the 4 conflict bosses and the Riftstone or the Boonstone, whatever happens to be happening that day, every single day. It's a lot to ask of any one player. To then also add another event? What, you guys don't have enough events in the day? What are we talking about? To add another event to the day, which is a GVG? Now, I will say, you could have the number of conflict bosses and then add 1 GVG event. That might work. But even still, I don't think it's going to be very popular. Organized GVGs are not as fun. I will tell you the most fun GVGs are a natural competition for resources that happen in a very like organic way. They're not just like instance thrown together format. Like, it just doesn't work very well. It's just not fun. Yeah, I just don't. I don't like this idea very much. It's good that they give feedback and stuff, but it says matchmaking, so I'm curious how they're going to do that. No, like, is it guild numbers or ranking? Anyway, depending on how he can do it, it can kill or make the game better. But yeah, it's throwing away open world PvP. No, this is bad too. This is a horrible thing, mainly because if it's a matchmaking system, then guys, keep in mind it's a 1v1. Hey guys. Are any of you in the strongest guild on the entire server? How many of you are actually in Supple right now? Right? How many of you are actually in TC or the strongest guild on your server? Okay? If you are the number one guild, not alliance, guild, because they said guild, okay? If you're the number one guild, you will always fight the number two guild if it's a matchmaking system. And do you know who's going to win that fight? The number one guild. 10 out of 10 times. It's not even close. Okay? 3 is going to fight 4. 5 is going to fight 6. 6 is going to fight 7. And dog eat dog, the scene will cannibalize itself. So eventually what happens here in this system, so that I can explain it to people, because I've seen this happen any number of times. Okay, 3 versus 4. Or you end up with... Whoop, I'm an idiot. It's 3 versus 4. Okay. And then it's 5 versus 6. Okay, and this is just a primitive example. Okay, eventually what happens is 6 quits the game. Okay, so 5 doesn't have anyone to fight anymore. Okay, the lowest guild will always quit the game, forcing this guild to fight a guild that is stronger than, which then means this guild will then quit the game. And then this guild will quit the game. And then this guild will quit the game. And then the only ones left standing are the number one guild. That's called cannibalism, children. And it didn't work out so well for the Donner Party in the mountains. Okay, this is not good. This is not good. You do not want this to happen. Matchmaking, guilds do not want to fight each other in matchmaking. And the reason is they already know how strong they are against each other. They don't need to be told like they're children every single minute of every day. Hey, you're fighting Supple again today. You are going to get your ass beaten. You're going to fight Bricked again today. You're going to get your shit shoved in. Okay? Every single day, every moment of every day. No. What keeps those guilds playing, like the weaker guilds, like when you have a strong number 1 and you have a strong number 2, what keeps number 2 grinding is they're trying to catch number 1. What keeps number 1 grinding is the fact that they need to try to stay on top of number 2, right? And so on. This is like a human centipede situation down the chain. Okay. The problem is if you have 1 always fighting 2, 1 is always getting the resources over 2. 2 never has a chance to get resources over 1, and 2 will eventually quit the game because they're going to fall further and further behind 1. It's just the truth. Okay. You cannot force them to fight all the time. 2 needs opportunities to fight 3. 2 needs opportunities to fight 4. 2 needs opportunities to fight 1 with 3 helping it. Okay, that is organic PvP that guilds actually appreciate. If you matchmake them, you will destroy that. Okay, guilds do not want 1v1s, except every once in a while they'll take 1v1s, and they're super hype and they're fun to watch. But like, they don't want... If guilds wanted to 1v1, they'd go to war games. Okay, you have war games in your game. There's literally no reason to force them to 1v1 outside of war games. It's just that simple. Okay. And if a guild doesn't want to 1v1 in war games, you can just call them pussies and they can dodge as much as they want. But like, they can dodge that. That's fine. But you can't force them into it. You cannot force them into it or you will kill the guilds. Okay, let's take a look at the next suggestion. Imagine thinking this was a better solution than just removing the alliance system. Holy based Ditsu. Oh my God, that guy's a unit. Holy true. True. Paid actor. That was 2 days ago, man. I haven't read this yet. Let me flag up and fight anywhere. Sure. Sure. I think that is fine. I think that in a game like Throne and Liberty, I think that a one-sided deck system and a karma system, it would work. And not some dog shit karma system like we have at BDO. Some like light shit. I actually think that this is a win. This is a good idea. Like, a lot of people are going to say, no, then I have to fight everywhere. And that's that's going to be scary. But here's the thing. Fear is a strong motivator. Oh, it is. It's a strong motivator. Fear grips you. Okay? The fear that you could be PvP'd at any moment keeps you grinding. It keeps you playing longer than you would have before. Okay? And sure, you're going to have some twink femboy loser cry about how it's hard sometimes. But at the end of the day, they are still playing the game and they're enjoying it more because open world PvP is a thing. It's just the truth. I feel like you just strangled me. You're welcome. That's what I like. My content likes to come out of the page and grip you. Okay. The devs say open world PvP means a field boss circle with PvP enabled. No, that's open world PvP to gamers. Neither is a dungeon becoming PvP at night to event is conflict. I'll be honest with you. I think that the nighttime dungeons are a W. I think that's the best version of PvP that they actually have in the game. It's fun. These are all just PvP events. None of the... I'll be honest with you. You could take what this guy... Let me flag up and fight anywhere. If it's nighttime, the entire world is flagged for PvP. Done. Just like a dungeon. And if it's daytime, it's not. There you go. You can compromise it if you wanted to. That being said, no, that's not an open world PvP to gamers. Neither is a dungeon becoming PvP at night for conflict. These are all just PvP events. None of it is open world PvP. This is true, except nighttime dungeons are definitely open world PvP. That is classified. Event, no. I would not classify that as an event because it happens so frequently. Like I don't know. There's no open world or world about it. TNL's PvP is confined and designated to time-specific events. But like the conflict bosses, yeah, those are events, and also the GVG things that happened during the day. Open world PvP means go anywhere in PvP, anywhere like Last Oasis or Rust, or any game that has entire zones where PvP is perma allowed. Devs are actively misusing the term open world PvP, probably because it's a marketing buzzword, and a consultant told them to say that the game has it. This is probably not wrong, but people also overuse the word biome, and I never hear people complain about that. He's overall correct, though. I agree with that. AGS. If it is as you say and you actually play this game, then you know field bosses stay up for 1 hour because guilds and players love to mass PvP and do not care about the loot. We want to fight and the rivalry we created through the weeks. Do not make mass PvP a simple 2-week fight. No competitive player at all will submit to that. He's not wrong. But I don't think they're talking about a simple 2-week fight. I think they're talking about doing this daily and just matchmaking you every time you go to a boss. It's going to suck. It is going to blow. It is going to blow. Because no matter what, you have the number one guild that is going to fight someone that isn't the number one guild every day, and they're just going to... And they have... The other guild has no chance of winning. Like, imagine having to 1v1 supple, or take care, or bricked, or corrupt, or fury, or whatever, every single day. And you had to do it by yourselves. With no chance of third partying, no chance of backdooring, no chance of working together. You're just going to get bulldozed, and it's not going to be fun. Complain about Zergs killing the game. AGS basically kills Zergs, and now people complain about no Zerg. People are funny. This guy is an idiot. Reddit. Dumb. Like, this guy is a complete moron. This is not killing Zergs, dude. Like, oh my god, like these people, like they're like, huh, oh my god, yeah, Zergs are the problem, and now they're killing Zergs, and you're still unhappy. People are just never happy. No, you're just an idiot. Imagine thinking it's the same people. No, I agree on this. You too are, and I try not to use that word unless you really deserve it. Okay, so every conflict boss disappears. I'm so confused on how this will work. We will have like a 7v7 GVG for a dentist conflict, and only 2 guilds are selected. I'm lost. It'll probably be multiple instances of guilds just fighting each other, and whichever guild wins gets the loot. Probably. That's a terrible system. I'm really surprised about the comments in this thread. I was very happy when they announced that. That's because you're a moron. And in fairness, guys, I don't expect everyone to understand the intricacies of PvP, especially people that are new to like PvP communities and like Throne of Liberty. the nuances of how PvP guilds work are extremely complex. Because you have men competing with each other in a very fierce and competitive environment in an online setting like this. There's a lot of different dynamics going on in an environment like that, and I don't expect people to understand those nuances right away. So they're not necessarily morons as they are uninformed, and I would rather just those people just not comment, because otherwise it's no, they should still comment because it's freedom of speech. They should comment. It's just that let the community decide for itself. Right. They just need to add inner server guild bosses, not remove conflict, and conflict gives more loot. No, the solution is not to give more events to a game that's already burning people out because it's got too many events. That's not the solution. I'm really surprised at these comments. Okay. For us, inner server event were the most fun thing to do, and nobody cares about field boss. See, he doesn't understand. Because they said inner server, he thinks he's going to be fighting guilds from other servers. And even if you are, you're still going to get turbo. Right? Because you're already immediately going to know that you're weaker than that other guild. It's not even a question. Nobody cares about field bosses in my guild. And that's the problem, man. Guys, they should care about the field bosses. That's the problem. Bro, they should care about the field bosses because that is where the most organic PvP has an opportunity to flourish in the game, because you have a direct competition for resources with other guilds. The fact that it's not encouraging that right now is a problem that people are trying to address. Castles and taxes make more sense for massive PvP, and fields of battle are way bigger. I'll be honest with you. I think that the castles need to have artificially inflated lucent. I think that the castles need to have 5x their current rewards at least, because right now they're just way too low. And when I read casual players that only PvP for 2 hours per day, my god, if you have a fun in a big Zerg dominate servers is good for you, but that will give you more things to do. For more guild oriented guys, you still have knights, castles, and taxes. This is a bad take disguised as something that looks good. Okay. Casual players that play for 2 hours a day. Yeah. If you have fun in a big Zerg dominating on servers, good for you, but it will give you more things to do if you have inter-server, is his argument. And that's just not the way that you want to look at it. You want to encourage people to fight on their own server, not just only have fun with inter-server. That means that there's something clearly wrong with the content if you're trying to actively avoid it. The big part why I fell in love with TL was the seamless open world without any instances, but as the game progresses more and more, instance content is being added because too many people complain about Zergs. Wait, no instances? What the hell would you call a dungeon then? What are we talking about? Sure, they are a problem. Also, your house. What? Sure, they are a problem. Just turning world bosses into instance matchmaking PvP is bad. I mean, what's next? Instance sieges? Yep. You got it. You might laugh at it, but it coming. What up, Celsi? How you doing, man? When I started the game, one of the things that hooked me was how much the open world the open world content there was. It was the first MMO I played in a decade that wasn't a lobby simulator. If this is the direction they choose to go, TNL is dead. I would generally agree if that is the way that they're going to go. Let's be honest, hardcore PvP people will keep playing the game on GVG, but it stays ZVZ. Casual, semi-casual people will just quit or wait for new content. Good luck finding the best solution, devs. The best they can do is not listen to this subreddit. Part of him is not wrong. You're honestly wrong. GVG is very different to mass PvP, and both are needed. I actually don't think he's not necessarily fully wrong here. Literally will kill the game. Removing a conflict time to GVG will basically make the strong stronger. Yep, smaller guilds will be left out, and open world PvP will come from nighttime, which itself is already dead, and siege and arc bosses. Yep. Again, people, they think that these open world dungeons, what has been established is who is the strongest Zerg on the server, and no one wants to go to the dungeons. If you break alliances, suddenly the dungeons become much more viable because there's a lot of different people fighting each other instead of everybody on the same team teabagging you all the time, right? And it makes the strong stronger. It's exactly the cannibalism thing that I explained before. He's absolutely correct. Yeah, this doesn't really fix anything. Instead, removes a big part of PvP experience. If people think that making conflict bosses GVGs provides a level playing field, they are very mistaken. Top guilds will stomp the out of casuals in 70v70 anyway. Not necessarily, because it's not a 7. Well, yes. In a 1v1, yes. But if you have 70 top-end players versus 240 players that are from different guilds on the server, they're not always going to win, but it does encourage them to work better together, though. Better PvP guilds with high attendance are practically always in alliances that compete for bosses currently. This won't make the 27 people online Peepo squad who cries about zerging take boss loot giving the chance. True. I wonder how the system will look in practice, but my guess is that people will find a way to abuse the shit out of it early on. Not wrong. Not wrong. Also, you know that he knows what he's talking about because he's 400 pounds. Top 1% commenter. I mean this in the most respectful way possible. This guy looks like he's permanently on Reddit. I almost thought that he was a moderator. It's a badge of shame. True. All right. Have I made my point here? Should I read more of it? Damn, bro. There's a lot in here. There's a lot. Is there any downvoted ones? There's zeros. There's ones. -2. They can't remake the areas larger. This is their solution. Yeah, that guy's an idiot. This hitted so many guilds with egos when they realize they are not that good. Oh no, he's... Oh no. He can't even spell correctly. Go square up against equal numbers and let others have fun. Yeah, okay. So we'll equal numbers. I'm sure that Supple would love to fight your guild with equal numbers. Let that happen. Let him figure it out, guys. That's what he doesn't understand. That's what people don't understand about this. It's like, let TC fight you with equal numbers. Let Brick fight you with equal numbers in your PVX casual guild or your semi-casual guild. No, equalize the numbers. That's the problem. It's just that they're zerking us. This guy lives on the cope that they are only losing because they're being zerged, not because they're better players or they have more gear. No. This guy plays excuse bingo because the first time that he loses the 1v1, which will be on day 1, he will immediately go to the next excuse on his bingo card, which is they have more gear than us. It's not fair. Even if smaller guilds lose over and over after patch, they know at least numbers are equal. Bro, this is the most L take in this whole thread that I have read. Bro, what are we even talking about? Even if smaller guilds lose over and over. Dude, what do you think is going to happen if a guild loses every single day? I would just stop going to bosses. That is the normal human response. They're not going to keep going because, well, at least the numbers are equal. Now I know it's because I'm terrible at the game. Like, what are we talking about? Conflict bosses are still a thing. What is everyone crying about? He's a top 1% commenter. Oh, God. Dude, Reddit. Like, dude, oh my God, bro. Sometimes Reddit just, this shit crazy, bro. Democracy Pog? Yeah, I think that like having it be an open platform is important. Let people say what they want to say, even if they're inexperienced. Let them have their take. And let the community decide for itself what is the good feedback and what is the bad feedback. Like, this is not necessarily a good take either, though. Right? It's not the worst take that we read, but like, it's not necessarily super great. Again, you've got to be careful who you're taking feedback from, and Reddit in general is a rough place.